Imagine this. Imagine a courtroom where the judge is 8 years old, the prosecutor is 8 years old, the eyewitness is 8 years old, and the jury are all 8 year olds. There's no defense attorney, no cross examinations allowed, and you're the one on trial. How fair of a trial would that be? No one to argue your case or present a bigger picture. Just a scared, overwhelmed child making rulings based on limited evidence, high emotions, and a complete lack of context. That's what your earlier years were like. In this courtroom, you were both the accused and the one handing out the verdicts. Every moment, every argument, every silence, every glance was put on trial. And with the limited understanding of a child, you ruled on what those moments meant about you, your worth, and your place in the world. A dad walked out of the door and didn't come back. Child thinks, I must not be lovable. Mom was too tired to listen. The child says, I'm a burden. The teacher scolded you for speaking up in class. The child believes, I need to stay quiet to be safe. Without an adult defense attorney to argue for your value or a wise adult judge to provide perspective, those childhood conclusions became your truth. And once the verdict was in, it stuck. You didn't appeal the ruling because as a child, you didn't even know you could. Hell, you didn't even know the trial was happening. See, this is the reason why I tell people there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Because it's true. The entire time you were living out your childhood, you had this trial going on in your head. Because as I said before, we don't like open loops. Children don't like open loops. Human beings don't like open loops. We don't like to not know. Think about how you feel when you don't know. Think about that uncertainty. See, that's part of the human condition, is the need for certainty. And it's that need for certainty that causes us to make up shit just so we could feel like we know. The reason these beliefs have such a strong grip on you today is simple. No one ever questioned them. There are so many people out there who call themselves helpers who are afraid to victim shame. What does that mean? What do I mean by that? That means they are afraid to challenge your stories. They will allow you to walk around believing that something is wrong with you. See, therapy, and nothing against therapy, but I want you to understand the context. Therapy helps you cope with the story. Therapy helps you live with the story. Coaching, in most sense, will help you succeed in spite of the story, or say, you know what, let's change that story. But what you really need to understand is that it's just a story. Meaning there's what happened, and then there was you trying to close the loop to understand why what was happening was happening. I remember working in the prison and doing one of my lectures, and I wrote this timeline on the board, and I just drew a timeline, and I put these little dots, and I said, these are events that happened in your life. And then above that, I drew these little clouds, right? These little thought bubbles, and I just put story/meaning inside of them. Because I wanted them to understand the difference between what happened and the story you tell yourself about what happened. And I said, if you want peace, erase the stories. But the challenge is you don't know who you are without the story. That's the only reason why you cling to your story. It's because you don't know who you are without it. But I want to look you in the face and tell you that who you are without it is greater than you can possibly imagine. You are the divine spark. You are the most magnificent creature on this planet. You are limitless and you are boundless. That's why every time you look at children, you're just in awe and wonder. And that's because children aren't here for you to teach. Children are here to remind you of who you are before the world got its hands on you. What if there was nothing to heal, but only to acknowledge and see where you made the decision about yourself that as a result of what someone else did or didn't do, you decided that you weren't enough. You decided that you weren't worthy. You decided that you weren't lovable. You decided that you were a screw up. You decided that you deserved it. You decided all the things that you don't want to feel, all the things that you're running from. You decided that. And you decided it at a time where you didn't have the mental capacity, the lived experience, the awareness to truly understand what was happening. You spend your whole life trying to solve a problem. And what I'm telling you is that there is no problem to solve. You've been whole and complete the entire time. It doesn't matter what happened. You cannot get rid of your completeness. You cannot get rid of your wholeness. Show me a child that's not whole. You could never not be whole. You could only trick yourself into believing that you're not whole or that you're broken, and the world will confirm that because that is how they get what they want out of you. That's how they control you. But you could never not be whole. You could only trick yourself into believing that you're not whole. But that doesn't make you not whole. That's like my daughter going out into the world telling everybody that she doesn't have a daddy. Now, she can say that all she wants. She could believe that all she wants. It doesn't make it true. Do you understand? You have forgotten. And I'm here to remind you. It's time to wake up because the world needs you. Your family needs you. It's time to remember who you are. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.